What's up everyone, James here again with another pickups video. I'm going to try to run through this one a bit quicker this time, so let's just go ahead and get right to it. So I'm going to start off with probably the biggest disappointment of the month. I finally got my hands on an NES Classic Edition. I found this for a really good price and I couldn't pass it up. But as they say, sometimes things are too good to be true. When I first turned it on, everything seemed fine, but the more I messed around with it, like the menu music would all of a sudden just kind of lag and slow down, and the selecting the different games would all of a sudden become really slow. I realized that Super Mario Bros. 3 ran really quick. I immediately noticed it with the music. It was sped up and the game runs even faster than it should. Really strange. I couldn't save any games. I couldn't even factory reset the thing. It wouldn't let me do it. I ended up calling Nintendo to see if they had any clue, and to be honest, they were clueless. So unfortunately, I am sending this back after a pretty heated debate with the seller. I don't want to get into that, but it is being sent back, unfortunately. But the thing was, right after I bought this is when I read the announcement that Nintendo will be releasing this again next year. So I'm kind of expecting to see some of the prices for this start to drop now that that announcement was made. But we'll see. I might just wait until next year to get it. Or I don't know, maybe if I find another one for a good price, I'll give it a chance. So anyway, it's upsetting, but it was still cool, the little bit of time I did play with it. So unfortunately, I'm back to working Saturdays, which means my yard sailing for this year is pretty much over. But I still did come across quite a few games, nothing too spectacular, but still some pretty cool finds. I'm gonna go run through these really quick. First up is Gran Turismo 4. I've said in other videos I'm not a huge simulation racing fan, but when I find these at yard sales, I usually buy the whole lot, even if I already have the games, because I usually end up getting them for pretty cheap. So got that. Got SSX Tricky, as well as SSX. I didn't really get much into these because I was more of a Tony Hawk fan, but they are still pretty fun. I just haven't really invested much time into them. A game I haven't played, Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero. I know nothing about that game. Here's two games. This is a franchise that I unfortunately never really got into because I'm not a big turn-based style combat fanatic. But I'm trying to get myself into it because as a kid I didn't like shooters, but now I love shooters. So, but I still haven't been able to get myself into it, but I did pick up 2 Final Fantasy games on the PS2 as well. Again, I don't know anything about these games, don't know if they're any good, but someday I might check them out. A game that's pretty easy to come across, Kinect Adventures. I won't lie, I had a lot of fun with this game back in the day when I first got the Kinect. Me and the wife used to play this all the time. I actually have photos up on Facebook of the screen captures that the game takes of you while you're playing, which is pretty funny. Haven't played it since I picked it back up, but I do look forward to checking it out again because, like I said, it was fun. It's cheesy, but it's still pretty fun. Another batch of games here. Tony Hawk 4 on the Nintendo GameCube. I have a goal to basically get every Tony Hawk game that was released on every system. Why? Well, for one, most of them are pretty cheap, and they're fun. I love these games. I go back and play these all the time, and I still have a blast with them. Here's a game I've played a little bit of this one, but I haven't got too into it, which is The Legend of Spyro: The Eternal Night. The one thing I thought was cool about this was the voice actors, because it's got Elijah Wood as Spyro. It's got Billy West as his little partner Sparks, and if you grew up in the 90s and you don't know who Billy West is, look him up, because pretty sure that man was basically your childhood. The man has done so many voices, and typically I can never recognize him because he's that good. However, I kind of felt like he recycled the same voice he used for think it was Murphy on Rayman 3. I believe that was his name, little flying frog thing. So as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, it's Billy West. And it even has Gary Oldman, which is pretty cool. Here's a game I tried to play a little bit of, Art of Fighting Anthology. So I don't know if it's just me or what, but whenever I tried to play, like, everything seems fine, but once I start playing the games, it's like the bottom half of the screen is all glitched out. It still seems to run okay, it's just that's going on. I don't know if anybody else has come across that, but a little bit disappointing. I tried cleaning off the disc, that didn't do anything. So kind of weird. Each one of them does it, all three, so I don't know. Here's a game, I don't know how I have so many copies of this game. Then that's Medal of Honor Frontline. I have this I'm pretty sure I have 2 copies on the Xbox. I have this one, and I have another one, I think. I could be wrong. I don't ever plan on playing it, but actually, matter of fact, I got rid of 2 copies at one point. I don't know how these end up back in my collection. I just don't know. Next up, we have 2 Jak games, Jak 2 and Jak X Combat Racing. Haven't had the chance to check either one of those out. Mortal Kombat Armageddon, not necessarily everyone's favorite Mortal Kombat game, but I remember having a good time with it back in the day. But I understand some of the things that people didn't like about it. And of course, a game that I could talk about all day, God of War 2. No, I did not have this in my collection because there's a lot of games that I loved playing back in the day, but before I started collecting, I'm slowly getting them back into my collection, but if I haven't really had the desire to play them, I haven't really went out and bought it. So found it at a yard sale, was pretty excited. This franchise is basically the reason I got a PS2. It was one of those games that so many people talked about it, and I was like, there's no way this game could live up to the hype. And I was blown away by the first God of War. And God of War 2 was just even better. God of War 3 was phenomenal. I am pretty excited about God of War 4, or whatever they're gonna call it. I don't know. The new one with the Viking mythology, so curious about that. Oh, and the most important game of all, Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2007. Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that one. So last month I talked about how I never come across cartridge-based games at yard sales, and I just happened to come across Super Smash Bros. And Rampage 2 on the N64. Really cool finds. Well, this month I actually found a couple more. The first one, nothing exciting, but this came in a box of PS2 games that was in that stack I just showed you, which was Jeopardy on the N64. I'm not gonna lie, I'll probably never play this game, but hey, I was like, hey, cool, an N64 game. One that was pretty exciting, and I almost overlooked this because it was just in a box of stuff, random stuff, and I just happened to see it. And that was Gradius 3, I think it's 3, yes, 3, for the Super Nintendo. It's a little dirty, I meant to clean it up, and I forgot to. But yeah, I was super excited when I found that one. And then, the very same day, I got The Lion King in box. It doesn't have the manual though. A little bit unfortunate. But I was excited to find this because of the fact that my wife had bought me this game before I started really collecting seriously. And, well, to be fair, it's not in the greatest condition. It's terrible. The label's gone. I mean, it's, yeah, terrible. But I was excited to find this. And then I realized I have a love-hate relationship with this game. It's primarily level 2. Don't get me wrong, I love the art style of the game. I think it looks great, but the stupid, the emu or the ostrich ride that you're on, I always end up hitting that stupid bird's nest. I can never seem to get the right timing for that. But anyway, I loved playing this game as a kid. The Lion King was definitely my favorite Disney movie growing up, and I still enjoy it to this day. And I love how the game pretty much follows the movie. I remember the first time seeing the Stampede level. I thought that looked pretty cool for the Genesis. I will say though, it's not at all an easy game, but I do have a lot of great memories playing it as a kid. So like I said, I was super excited when I found it. So my last yard sale find was kind of a gamble. I follow a yard sale group on Facebook, and occasionally I'll see, games and stuff like that pop up. Well, I happened to see a photo with 3 video game consoles on a table, and I was kind of like, oh, okay. And I sent her a message real quick, and she made it sound like she wanted $25 for both, and I was like, that can't be right. Maybe she meant 25 each, maybe. So I don't know, I really debated on it because I was like, even that sounds like it's too good to be true. So I drove. It was a bit further of a drive than I expected, but I got there and they were still there. The problem was she didn't have any of the cables or controllers or games for it. Not a big deal, I have all that at home. So I took a chance. She promised me they all work. That's the key. So I took it home, and when I got there, she did say she wanted $25 for both. So I walked away with everything here for $30. So the first thing I decided to try out when I got home was an N64. I was like, there's a good chance this has to work. So I plugged it in, and it worked. So at that point, I'm like, okay, if nothing else works, this was still a pretty good steal. Typically I see these go for like 60, 70 bucks. So really cool. What I was really crossing my fingers for were, let me see if I can get these here, 2 PS3s. Again, $25 for both. Sketchy, very sketchy. So I plugged in this one first, which it looks like it's in really good condition. I was like, okay, cool. I plugged it in, turned it on, it beeps 3 times and then turns right off. I was like, okay. All right, so I tried the other one. So this one had me worried for a second. So the power button doesn't work. You can hear it'll click sometimes, but it doesn't always click. And you can tell right there, I don't know if I can really get that in the shot, but there's like a little dent there. So I'm pretty sure I think this was dropped at one point. But I turned it on and I heard audio. I could hear the little boot up sound. So I was like, okay, but there's no video. And I realized, it's probably, I just need to reset the video output to HDMI. So I went and I got my Elgato game capture, and I was able to, it showed up on my computer. I could see video, so I was like, that's great. I could go in and I could reset or change the video output to HDMI, and it worked. I was excited. I was like, okay, this wasn't as bad of a deal as I expected. So, needless to say, I got a working PS3 for $25. Hopefully, I can fix that one and I'll have 2 working PS3s. So, anyway, I know I wanted to run through this video a lot quicker, but needless to say, sometimes you just have to take a chance. I did, and I'm glad I did, because that was a pretty cool deal, you gotta admit. Alright, so next up is a pre-order that I got a while ago, and I was super excited when it finally showed up, which was Sonic Mania. As you can see, I got this guy back here, which is pretty cool. You can actually put batteries into it, and when you turn it on, it does the whole Sega intro. Kind of pointless in my opinion, but still pretty cool. And of course, it also came with this little metal card. I don't really know what the point of it is, but whatever. But the cool thing is the Sonic Mania Genesis cartridge that also has the little ring inside of it. So pretty cool. I was disappointed by the fact that it didn't come with a physical copy of the game. Now, to be fair, the pre-order doesn't say it does. It says it comes with a download. But I had figured it was a collector's edition, it would come with a physical copy. Well, needless to say, they didn't make any copies, so a little bit disappointed. Anyway, the game, I love it. If you love Old school Sonic, I mean, they hit the nail on the head. It's perfect. I love how you revisit classic levels, but you also have brand new stages as well. It feels like just the right amount of nostalgia, but at the same time, it also kind of feels like a whole new experience as well. I will say the only complaint I have is Act 1 of Mirage Saloon, which you're actually riding on the plane. And I can't remember the name of the level in Sonic 2, but it's the level before Sky Fortress, where you do the same thing. Really cool, I love that stage. One major flaw, you can actually fall off the damn plane. And it was driving me insane, so it took me forever to get through that level because I would accidentally do a spin dash, and it didn't happen all the time. Just every now and then, all of a sudden Sonic would just fall off the plane. Oh my god, that drove me insane. Other than that though, amazing game. I'm hoping that Sonic Forces, I think that's what it's called, is going to be pretty good as well. I did like Sonic Generations, I just felt like there could have been some improvements to it. So I'm hoping that maybe they improve that, make that game even better. So I can only hope, right? Finally picked up something that I don't want to get too involved in collecting these because in my opinion they're a collector's nightmare, and that's the amiibos. Now I got the Link Archer. I actually found this brand new at Target. I was surprised. So and I had like a gift card to Target and I was like, what the heck, I'll buy it. The reason why I say these are a collector's nightmare is the fact that you can't use them in the box. You have to take them out of the box in order to utilize in the games. And as a collector, I don't want to open the box. So Nintendo, they know what they're doing, and I think they purposely mess with people. But anyway, that's the second one I have. I have one out of box somewhere, but yeah, again, I don't want to go down that path because that's a whole other area of collecting I do not want to get involved with and I don't have the room for, so it is what it is. Next up is a couple of Goodwill finds actually. So I've never come across anything good at Goodwill. Usually if I do find a good game, it's, you know, the right game's not even in it, it's like a different game or something like that, or it's scratched up to all hell. But I went one day and I was surprised by what I picked up. So I think someone had dropped off their Halo collection because I got Halo 3, which is probably my favorite in the series. I played the hell out of this one. This was the first game I ever played online, and I used to play it all the time, and I fell in love with it. So they also had Halo 1 and Halo 2 there, but I already had those, so I didn't grab them. But I got also Halo 3 ODST, and also Halo Reach, which I never played, so I look forward to checking it out. Along with that, I also got Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. I think I have this on the PS2 as well, but again, it's cool. Half-Life 2 on the Xbox, which sadly is a game I never did play. And all these are actually in really good condition. So I don't know if it was all from the same person or what, but I mean, they could have got something for it at GameStop or somewhere. Next is a game I never heard of, Gauntlet 7 Sorrows for the PS2. Yeah, I know nothing about. And the game I was pretty excited about, which was Little Big Planet 2, because I didn't have this one. So, needless to say, I was excited, because Goodwill kind of lets me down anymore. I never find anything good there, so great find. Last up, we have a couple of games I picked up at stores. First one is a game I've been kind of eyeballing for a little while, and that's Grabbed by the Ghoulies for the original Xbox. The only reason I've been wanting this game is the fact that it's from the creators of Donkey Kong Country and Banjo-Kazooie, so it has to be good, right? I don't know. It's not terrible, I don't like the fighting control, because you move obviously with the left thumbstick, but you attack using the right. Okay, that's not bad if it's like a shooter, because I've actually really enjoyed games that do that. You just move the joystick in the direction you want to shoot, and you shoot. Not so much for melee attacks. So it's not terrible. I did play it for a little while. There is fun to be had, but I just feel the control scheme is kind of awkward. But apart from that, I think it's worth giving a chance. Voodoo Vince was another one I've been wanting to check out. I did play a little bit of this one, and from what I played, I do like it. It's a game that doesn't take itself too serious. I mean, you play as a voodoo doll, for crying out loud. So pretty much the story is your creator is kidnapped, and you're brought to life, and you're the only one that can save her. And I like how, like, during the intro, she even states that you're her third best voodoo doll, so you're not even her best. It's fun, it's goofy, and I love Vince as a character because he's very sarcastic, he's a real smartass, and I really look forward to putting some more time into this one. So next up is a game some might laugh at, Backyard Wrestling 2. So back when I was younger, I was really big into wrestling back in the day, more so during like the Attitude Era, and I loved, obviously, like No Mercy, one of my favorite games of all time. But whenever me and my friends played that game, we always were trying to do like the most outrageous stuff, and anything we could do to beat each other silly. And I'm surprised I never actually found these games and played them, because I actually think me and some of my friends would have had a blast with these games. Now, don't get me wrong, they are not great. I actually haven't played this one yet. I've played the first one. Me and the wife do play that one every now and then. And don't get me wrong, like I said, it's not great, but for, $5, I think it's worth that, because you beat each other senseless. You have a wide variety of just random stuff to pick up and beat your opponent senseless with. It's entertaining for what it is. Like, I couldn't have imagined paying full price for it back in the day. Not so much, but like I said, now you can get them for like $5 or less. I recommend at least giving it a shot. Next up is a game, I actually recently finished this, and that's Alice Madness Returns. It's an interesting take on an already messed up story. I mean, I think we can all agree that Alice in Wonderland was just one big acid trip. But everything is, very dark and very disturbing, which is definitely what drew me to it. But it is pretty cool to see such a dark interpretation of such a beloved children's story. I will say, when you get to the end and find out what's going on, it's pretty crazy. And I don't know, I thought it was hilarious the way it ended. But obviously I'm not going to spoil it. I definitely recommend, playing through it to the end, because it was definitely a unique experience. Next up is a couple of survival horror games. So a buddy of mine and I recently recorded a video talking about our favorite survival horror video game franchises, which I talked about last month. And I've kind of been in a horror game mood with Halloween coming up. So I picked up The Suffering on the original Xbox. I remember playing this a little bit back when the Xbox first came out. I started playing it again. It's not as scary as I remember it, but then again, I haven't got too far into it. But yeah, still pretty cool. So next up is a game I picked up. I've been playing the PS3 version of this game, which is Siren. The PS3 version, I think, is like a reimagining of this one. And to say the least, it's pretty disturbing, I'm not gonna lie. Very creepy. The thing that actually got me interested in this game was the fact that the original creator of Silent Hill went and created Project Siren, which worked on these games. Now, it is a bit trial and error based, so that may turn some people off. But I don't know, it's unique. It's definitely different. Like I said, very disturbing. So when I came across this, I wasn't even looking for it. I just happened to come across it, so I picked it up. So I do plan on finishing Blood Curse on the PS3 and then maybe coming back and trying this one. So last up, I have Silent Hill Shattered Memories on the PS2. So Silent Hill was a series that I talked about with my buddy on the video I was just talking about. And really, I only really got into the first four. I did like Origins a little bit, but I've never actually beaten it. But after that, I don't know, I didn't like Homecoming, and I tried giving this one a chance on the Wii, and I liked it, but the little chase sequences or whatever they were when like monsters are coming after you, I don't know, it didn't really do it for me. But when I found out it was released on the PS2, I was curious to see how it played, because the motion controls, they're cool, but it gets kind of old. So I was surprised, like I said, when I found out this was released on the PS2, and it's not necessarily a cheap game to come across either. So I do plan on giving this a chance, checking it out to see if it's any better on the PS2, or if, you know, if I just still don't like it. But at least I'm giving it a second chance. So, well, anyway, like I said, I think that's it. I don't think I missed anything. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like, comment below, subscribe, you know, share with your friends, all that fun stuff. And hopefully I'll see you guys again real soon.